It is May 2026, and the election is over. But Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee refuses to leave. Instead, she has barricaded herself inside the Writers' Building, the historic seat of power for the West Bengal government. She insists she will not concede, declaring to the press and her supporters that her party was defeated by a massive institutional conspiracy rather than a public mandate. This chart shows the scale of the reversal. In 2021, the Trinamool Congress held a commanding 215 seats to the BJP's 77. But in 2026, that mandate flips. The BJP surges to 207 seats, ending 15 years of uninterrupted Trinamool rule. The ruling party was reduced to just 80 seats. Major strongholds across the state fell to the opposition, including the chief minister's own constituency of Babanipur. The standoff quickly escalated into a constitutional crisis. The governor issued a formal warning to the chief minister to step down. Her top advisors resigned, and deadly clashes between rival party workers broke out across Kolkata. To understand how an invincible political dynasty collapsed into a standoff with the police, we have to look at the three distinct forces that dismantled the state's electoral math. The first force was institutional. Months before the vote, the Election Commission of India initiated a special intensive revision of the state's voter rolls. This pie chart breaks down the 9.1 million voters removed from the rolls. As the data shows, 63. By the time the campaign trails opened, the baseline demographics of the electorate had been altered. When voting day arrived, citizens mobilized in mass. A record 93% of voters cast their ballots, the highest participation in the state's history. Much of that turnout was driven by economic frustration. A severe lack of private sector jobs left young voters behind, compounded by a massive corruption scandal in state teacher recruitment. Alongside economic anger, intense public outrage over law and order swept the state. Atrocities against women in Sandeshkhali triggered massive street demonstrations. Those demonstrations directly translated into votes. Rekha Patra, a figurehead for the Sandeshkhali protests, ran for office and successfully flipped her constituency to the BJP. For 15 years, the ruling party had used welfare programs to maintain loyalty, but those cash transfers could no longer shield them from the anger of a record-breaking turnout. Beyond the administrative changes and public protests, the collapse of the Trinamool majority ultimately came down to a fracture in their most reliable base. This map highlights the state's rural minority population. For over a decade, this 27% voted as a unified base. But in 2026, that base shattered as alternative opposition groups like the Left ISF Alliance pulled away crucial margins in districts. While the incumbents' base splintered, the BJP unified the state's Hindu electorate, leveraging the appeal of localized strongmen figures like Suvendu Adhikari. By splitting their opponent's base while unifying their own, the BJP gained ground in territories that the old mathematics had once made unreachable. The incoming administration immediately announced a shift in state policy, moving away from localized welfare doles toward industrialization and centralized governance. The National Party leadership attached aggressive deadlines to their agenda, pledging to implement a uniform civil code within 6 months of taking power. This state victory provides a massive reserve of political capital for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, whose party had been forced to rely on coalition partners after the 2024 national elections. By successfully capturing West Bengal, the national government has neutralized their most vocal critic and dismantled the strongest remaining regional holdout against their political apparatus. In 2026, a state once defined by its independent political identity was absorbed into the national mainstream, permanently altering the country's trajectory.